Hey team, happy Thursday. Like I said yesterday, today's lesson is going to be a lot easier than we've been working on with volume. With volume, it was very complicated, especially when we had a missing dimension. That's like one of the hardest lessons that we're going to do for the next little bit. Today, we're starting a brand new unit on statistics and data. It's something that most people have not seen before, so it's going to be especially important that you're watching these videos and filling them out as I go. The other thing is that the video today is going to look a little bit different because rather than working on pencil and paper, I'm actually going to do all my answers on the computer. If you are working on a computer, your screen should look the same as mine. If you're not working on a computer or you can't put answers in your phone or on your tablet, that's fine too. You'll just write it out and I'll show you exactly what I want you to write on the paper, and then you'll send me a picture of your paper because this will be a little harder to do if you're not putting your answers right on the screen. Right now, you should go ahead and start on the PDN, answer the first two questions. You should pause this video and come back when you're done. Okay, hopefully you have answered 1 and 2. Number 2, I'm not going to write out right now, but you should length times width times height. 3 times 5 is 8, times 12 is 96, so your answer should be 96 millimeters to the third power. You also could say 96 millimeters cubed. You also could say 96 millimeters, and if you have figured out how to do the exponent, you can use the exponent to say to the third power. Okay, moving right along. Statistical questions. Today we're starting our final unit for 6th grade. So far we have done adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing of whole numbers, fractions, and decimals. We've done ratios, unit rate, and percents, positive and negative numbers, algebra, expressions and equations, and geometry. For the geometry, we still have to do 3D shapes. We're not quite there yet. When we get back in the classroom, once the school closure is over, we'll go back to 3D shapes. Our final unit is called data and statistics. Data, this is a first definition for us. We've probably heard the word data before, but we might not know exactly what it means. Data are a collection of information about people or things. So when I collect data, I'm collecting information about people or information about things. Today, we're going to start by focusing on a statistical question. So when we do statistics, one of the key things we need to know is whether or not the question that's being asked is statistical. If it's not, then we can't do all the things. All the stuff we're going to learn for the next few weeks only apply to statistical questions, so we need to make sure we know what a statistical question is. A statistical question is one that asks about a population and has variance. Population means it's more than one person. I can't just ask you a question about you. If you're the only one answering the question, then it's not going to be a statistical question because that's not a population. A population means we're asking more than one person or we're collecting data about more than one thing. It also has to have variance. If these people or things, which means that these people or things have different answers. I can't, even if there's 15 people in a population, if I ask them all, where did you go today? Every single person should say, I stayed at home. We're not allowed to leave the house. So there's no variance. There would be variance if someone said, I had to go to the corner store for my grandma and I had to put a mask on. Then we have variance because at least one person didn't stay at home. But variance means we're going to get more than one answer. Here are some examples. How tall is everyone in this class? This is a statistical question. The reason it is a statistical question is because we have a population. There's more than one person. There's more than one person in a class. Okay, so it has a population. That's the first thing that we need for it to be a statistical question. Second thing is we need to have variance. I know that this question has variance because not everyone in the class is the exact same height. I know that Antonia is not the same height as Corval. Both of those two people in Northwestern are different heights. So there is variance. Different people have different heights. That's how I know it's a statistical question. It has population and variance. The second question, how tall are you? This is not a statistical question. There is no population. It's only about one person, you. So you should be typing just like I'm typing in this here. You should be typing on your computer. If you're not working on a computer or can't type in, you should be writing this on a piece of paper and you'll send me that picture. How tall are you is also not a statistical question because there's no variance. Remember, variance means there's more than one answer. You are only one height. You can't have more than one height. You are what you are, at least for today. You might grow some more tomorrow. So as we're going through our questions today, we want to be able to say, is there a population and is there a variance? If there's a population and variance, it is statistical. If there isn't, then it's not. Okay, we're going to do a whole bunch of examples together, and then you're going to work on some on your own. It says, a class of students collect buttons. Which of the following are statistical questions that could be asked about the jar below? Circle those statistical questions. We actually won't circle them. We'll just say whether it's statistical, yes or no. What is the typical number of holes in these buttons? Is this statistical or not? In my mind, I'm saying, is there a population? Yes, there is. There is more than one button. More than one button. Is there variance? Yes, there is. There's variance because some, what are we talking about here? Some buttons might have 3 holes. Some might have 4. So different buttons are going to have a different amount of holes in them. So there is variance, which means that yes, this is a statistical question. Are there any gold buttons in this jar? This is not a statistical question. This is asking about just one button, a gold one if there is one. Is there variance? No. The answer is yes or no. And whenever the answer to a question is yes or no, it's not statistical because that's not considered variance. So if you can answer a question with yes or no, then no, it is not a statistical question. How many buttons did each student put in the jar? Are we talking about a population? Yes. More than one person put buttons in the jar. Is there variance? I'm going to assume yes, there is variance. Some people put 1. Some people could have put 50, but I'm going to assume there is variance here because different people would put a different amount. Yes. How many green buttons are there? Is that a population? Yes, because it's about all the buttons. Is there variance? No. There's only one answer to this question. Either there are 7 green buttons, or there are 50 green buttons, or there are 12 green buttons. It's not going to change because we're just asking about this one jar. So this is not a statistical question because there is no variance. If Tyler grabbed a handful of buttons, what are the chances that all the buttons in his hand are round? Is this a population? Yes, because he is grabbing from a bunch of buttons. Is there variance? The answer is yes. Anytime we see the word chances, how many chances are there? We know that it is variance because if he puts his hand in one time, he's going to come up with 12. If he puts his hand another time, he might come up with 13. So there's going to be different answers every time he does it. That means that yes, this is a statistical question for number 5. Number 6, what is the typical size of the buttons in a jar? It does have a population. It's asking about more than one button. It has variance, okay? Typical, the word typical is kind of like chance, where it shows us that yes, this is a statistical question because it's saying typical. Typical and chance are 2 words that denote it's going to be a statistical question. Yes, this is. What materials were used to make these buttons? Is this about a population? Yes, it's about a population. It's about all the buttons. Is there going to be more than one answer? This is where I would I would say either yes or no. You could say no, buttons are all exactly the same. Or you could say yes, some are made out of wood, some are made out of plastic. So it's going to be up to you and your interpretation. You'll want to make sure that you put a good explanation in why your answer is yes or no. As you go through today, you're going to do a chart just like this, and you'll want a good answer of why yes or no. How many buttons are in the jar? Is this population? Yes, it's about more than one button. Is there variance? No, there's no variance. There's only one answer. If there's only one answer, we can't say there's variance, and because there's no variance, it's not a statistical question. How many buttons have 2 holes? Is this about a population? Yes, it's about all the buttons. Is there variance? How many have 2 holes? I'm going to say no. There is no variance because there's just one answer. The answer is 7, or the answer is 12. That's not variance. So I'm going to go with no on that. Finally, how are these buttons distributed according to color? It's yes again, all the buttons. That means it's a population. Is there variance? Yes. Some are going to be red, some are going to be white, some are going to be blue. And when it's asked how it's distributed, it's saying there are 7 blue, there are 6 red, and those have different answers. So we're going to say yes, this is a statistical question. For your practice set, it says you've already watched a video. You're going to pause right now. Once you pause, you're going to solve these questions in the Google Doc and just enter your answers right here like we've been doing. If you are not entering answers in the Google Doc, you need to rewrite this chart, but you don't have to write all these questions. You can just say 1, 2, 3, 4, yes or no, and give your explanation on the side. You do not need to write the questions, but you need to give your answer why. Then make sure you send me a picture. Go ahead and pause the video and come back when you're ready to check answers. Don't act like you're not jealous. Okay, let's check our answers. What time did you brush your teeth? Does it have a population? No, it's just talking about you. Is there variance? No. Well, there could be. Hopefully you brush your teeth in the morning and the night, but there's only just one answer, and because it's just asking about you, there is no population, so I'm going to say no for that one. How many words are in this sentence? Does it have a population? No. It's only talking about one sentence. Is there variance? No, there's only one answer. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's the only answer that we could get. There is no variance there. How long are the songs on the CD? Is there a population? Yes, there's more than one songs on a CD. I know CDs are a little antiquated for you guys, but there are such things as CDs. Is there variance? Yes, not every single song on that CD is going to be the exact same length. So because there's variance and populations, we'll say yes, that is. How many students watch TV? Is this about a population? Yes, it is. More than one student in our class watches TV. Probably most of you are watching way too much TV while you're stuck in your house. Is there variance? No. There is not variance. Sorry. Yes, there is variance. How many students watch TV? Assuming that at least one person says no, then there would be variance. So you got to decide whether or not that's variance or not. You could say there is no variance because every single person in the world watches TV. Or you could say, I know my cousin doesn't watch TV, so in his class, we're going to say, no, there is variance because he said no and everyone else said yes. So be careful with this one. I'm going to say no, but it's up to you. As long as your explanation is right, you can get credit for saying yes as well. How many public schools are in Chicago? Is there a population? Yes, it's about all the schools in Chicago. How many are public? Yes, because you would get how many are public, how many are charter, how many are private, how many are independent. So yes, there is variance because it's asking about a whole population and only some of them are going to have an answer. Yes, it's true that there's only one answer, 500 in some public schools, but you could also ask a question if it's about all schools. You could get variance by asking a different question about the different types of schools. How many students are in each classroom at KAC? Is there a population? Yes, there's more than one classroom and a lot more than one student. Is there variance? Yes. Northwestern might have 29 students. Wisconsin might have 28. Someone up in 7th grade in Columbia might have 31 students. So yes, there is variance. So we're going to say this is a statistical question. Okay, time for set 2. Set 2 is all about these cupcakes. I'm very hungry. So while you pause this video, maybe you go get a snack and come back when they are all answered. Okay, number 1, how many cupcakes were made? Is this about a population? Yes, it's talking about more than one cupcake. There's plenty of cupcakes in there. How many cupcakes were made? Is there variance? This is another one where you could say yes or no. You could say, yes, there is variance because on Monday, they make different amount of cupcakes than they make on Tuesday. Or you could say no because there's only one answer to this. So whether you put yes or no here, I can accept either answer depending on what your answer was, what your explanation was for variance. How many ounces of frosting are in each cupcake? Is there a population? Yes, there's more than one cupcake. Is there variance? Yes, probably some cupcakes have a little bit more than other cupcakes. No cupcake is going to have the exact amount of frosting on each one. So yes, this is a statistical question. How many yellow sprinkles are there on each cupcake? Population? Yes, more than one cupcake we're talking about. Variance? Yes, there's no way you could put exactly the same amount of yellow sprinkles on each cupcake. I know Mia's probably going to be like, well, you could count them out and do it. Yes, you could, but no one's actually going to do that. So no, so yes, this is a statistical question because there is variance. How much does each cupcake weigh? Asking about a population. Yes, we're asking about all the cupcakes. Is there a variance? Yes, different cupcakes are going to weigh different amounts, depending on how much frosting and everything else it has in it. How much did the batter of mix weigh? Is this talking about population? No. It's talking about one batch of cupcakes, and it's just talking about the batter that's in the bowl. Is there a variance? No. It's only talking about one bowl. And there's only one answer for that. There's no variance. How many cupcakes were vanilla flavored? Is this about population? Yes, it is. Is there variance? This is where some people get confused. Some people say, no, there is no variance because there's just one answer. True, but we're just asking about vanilla. We could also ask about chocolate. We could ask about red velvet. How many different chocolates? So there is variance because we could ask different questions about this population based on their flavor. So yes, this is. What ingredients are used to make this cupcakes? Is it about population? Yes, it's about lots of cupcakes. Is there variance? Yes. Flour, sugar, egg yolk, milk. There's lots of different answers that we could give. So yes, this is a statistical question. Okay? As you start on your exit ticket today, remember, it has to have population, have to have variance. Number one, you're going to put your answer. When you get your answer, you can just highlight this line. And let's say I say my answer is B. I'd say my answer choice B is not statistical because when I ask you to finish your sentence, you can highlight that and put your reasoning why that you picked this as not a statistical question. Hopefully use the word population and variance. For number two, you're going to say this is, or you're going to say this is not a statistical question because, and you'll have to give your explanation to get full credit. Again, I should see the word population and variance. As always, you can text me if you have any questions, call me if you have any questions, or join our office hours today from 11:15 to 11:45. 847-769-4731. When you finish this and have submitted your exit ticket, you should be spending about 15 minutes today on your con assignments because they're due tomorrow. Thanks. See you guys later.